Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about the motives behind your favorite social media personalities, your influencers, whatever you'd like to call them. So, I've recently started seeing myself as an influencer or whatever you want to call it. I stand by the fact that no influencer is happy to be called an influencer. It's a relatively new profession or whatever you want to call it. And it has a lot of negative connotations. It has a lot of built in stereotypes and things like that. But at some point, you just have to accept what it is and move on. However, I have talked a lot about how you should fine tune your social media experience. So, for example, if you are interested in photography and nature and wildlife, you should make sure that your social media profile reflects that and that the content you are consuming makes you feel energized and motivated and positive. And it's also filled with people who are doing what you're interested in. I don't think there's much point in trying to cultivate some very toxic, insecure For You page that encourages you to feel, disconnected with humanity, makes you feel bad about your body because all of these Photoshop pictures and filters, and gets you riled up because they talk about certain conspiracy theories or ideas that, make you really frustrated. It comes down to fine tuning that social media page to encourage growth, positivity. What are your goals? What are you focused on? What do you love? What makes you laugh? You can fine tune your page to make sure that it's nothing but dogs and cats and crazy fun adventures, and it makes you laugh, it makes you feel connected. That's all awesome, and I've talked about that a lot. But one of the things that I don't think is talked about a lot is what are the motives behind your favorite influencers? Um, because there's a lot of money involved in social media. There is a lot of influence, advertising, ego, emotion, and all of these things conspire. And you would be surprised at how many influencers there are who are purely motivated by money and purely motivated by ego and fame and revenge in some cases. And I didn't quite understand or have a grasp on this until I got into it and I started interacting with a lot more of these influencers. And I just want to be very clear, some of these people are incredibly genuine and so nice. And I'm certain they would take a bullet for me, but there is a good percentage of people out there who are trying to stir you up, trying to make you emotional, trying to evoke an emotional response from you. And honestly, there's some good and there's some bad, but I think thinking critically about what is the motive behind this video? What is this person trying to get me to do? Recently, TikTok has been promoting videos over a minute long. So I've decided to, do some more story content and, talk about, you know, funny life lessons or stories of my life and things like that and try and make them over a minute long. But what it's gotten me to do is now when I'm scrolling through my For You page, I'm taking note of how many videos are like that and how many videos involve a hook right at the beginning to try and get your attention and keep you listening the whole time. And so there's a lot of manipulation, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing, but it can be. And when you compound it with the rest of social media, if your page isn't fine tuned for making you feel like a good human being and making you feel positive, you can spiral down some pretty dark corners of the internet. And we've all seen this play out in the real world, play out with our friends and our family, and even play out with ourselves. It's a dangerous and a bad situation when everything you're following makes you feel so insecure and feels like you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're going to be forever alone. And these emotions that these people play on to get your attention, to get your follow, to get your views, and it's pretty manipulative. Whether you think it's good or bad, it's manipulative. So I think you need to think very critically about what exactly are the motives behind people. I think a lot about the influencers who have left the business. So, for example, the Dolan twins. If you don't know, the Dolan twins are these two very attractive, identical twins who made content for years and years and years. And as far as I know, they no longer make content. They decided to leave social media. They'd got their bag and they were good to go. But if you go back and you watch a lot of their videos, I don't think they're motivated by making money. Like they're kind of doing crazy things or doing things that they want to do. And they had still do have an incredibly loyal fan base. So I think a lot about that. Like Jenna Marbles is another example of an influencer who just decided, I don't need this. I'm good. I'm happy. And as much as we like to criticize or, poke holes or try and figure out why they left, they decided to get out. And I think that's a good indication that their motives were probably quite pure. When you realize that, like, oh, I don't really need this, it's all right. If I'm being very honest, I don't have to make videos. Like I have two other jobs that I'm very comfortable and I'm very happy to do. I live my life the way I'd like to live my life. And so I've thought a lot recently about what are my motives? Why am I doing this? And part of it is I'm inspired by creators like Grace Helbig or other creators who talk about positivity and living life happily. Marky Miller is another good example of somebody who creates content that makes me feel positive. It was very important to me growing up and coming out as gay and figuring out all of that stuff. But I think we need to think critically about what exactly these influencers are telling us, how exactly we want to interpret it, what it makes us feel. And it is totally fine to follow an influencer and, give them money or give them views and attention if you like their content and you're happy with it. But I think you need to have that critical thought of, okay, why am I actively choosing to follow this person? I don't think it should be this passive thing that you kind of stumble into. I think any decision in life should probably err on the side of critical thinking and analyzing what exactly am I doing here? Why exactly does this make me feel good or feel okay or whatever? So that's all I'm kind of asking for or encouraging is just to identify motives of why people do things. If you come to the conclusion that an influencer creates content to make people feel good and empowered and positive, that's awesome. That's somebody you want in your corner, in your group supporting you. But what you don't want is somebody whose videos you watch that make you super angry or cause a lightning rod of rage or of an emotion, and it's a type of manipulation to get you to click more, to get you to follow, and those kinds of things. There are so many manipulative tactics in the content we watch. A catchy hook to get you at the beginning, a clickbait thumbnail, thirst trap. None of us are immune from this stuff. Most of us have made content in that realm, but when you look at it holistically and you say, okay, what are these people trying to tell me? What are they trying to get me to do? Are they trying to get me to buy something? It comes down to what exactly are you interested in? And honestly, if you come to the conclusion that someone's content is not right for you, the unfollow button is there, and it is totally acceptable to decide that this person doesn't speak my truth or the way I'd like to be feeling about myself. There are so many influencers out there that make me feel so insecure about what I'm doing or my body or my eating habits or whatever. And I strive to continue to be a better person every day, but I don't need to see them going off and doing it. And I don't need to see the Photoshop pictures of the six pack or whatever. So I respectfully just decline to be involved. And I've made the critical decision to do so. So that's all I'm really advocating for. I've talked about this before, about how social media should connect us and make us feel empowered and feel good about ourselves and give us goals to reach for. And so I'm not trying to preach in any way. I have fallen victim to it. I have done some of it. And so I just ask for that like critical thought of, is this right for me? Because that's the root of the question is, are their motives lining up with my motives? Am I okay supporting a person that does XYZ? Um, and you don't have to be super judgy about it, but I think thinking critically about it is really helpful. And if it means that you create a social media that works for you and makes you better, awesome. That is what it should do. So that's all I wanted to come on here and say. I hope you're having an amazing day, an amazing week, month, year, whatever you're having. I hope it's amazing. And leave your comments down below. What is it they always say? Smash that like button, hit the follow and the bell to be notified about new videos. It's become a meme of its own, which is bizarre. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.